Well, for more on the INF and the implications of its possible collapse, I'm joined now by Angela Kane, Senior Fellow at the Vienna Centre for Disarmament and Non-Proliferation. Hello and welcome to Euronews. So we've heard from the US, NATO, France, Germany, all calling on Russia to comply with the treaty before Washington does pull out, given this 6-month period that it's given of notice to pull out. How do you think Russia is going to respond to what the US is calling this last chance?
Well, my hope is, of course, that Russia will, in fact, agree to comply with the treaty. It has been given 6 months to comply. And these concerns are not very recent. They've been voiced first in the Obama administration, and every year since 2014, in the annual compliance report, the United States has said that it did not comply and it needed to comply. But what I'm missing is really the efforts that were made through a special mechanism in the INF Treaty to address these concerns. There were 2 meetings, I think one in 2016 and one in 2017. There was one recently in January, but it has not really resulted in any meaningful progress. And this is why I think President Trump has now decided that he's going to pull the plug, give a deadline of 6 months, and expect Russia to comply or abrogate the treaty.
So assuming that this treaty does die a death in 6 months' time, then what? Are we looking at the possibility of a new arms race in Europe?
I think the arms race is already happening. You know that the Nuclear Posture Review of the United States expanded already the definition of a nuclear arms which could be detonated. And we don't have any talks on the table, planned, negotiated right now on a multilateral basis or on a bilateral basis. And that means that there is no movement at all in terms of disarmament and non-proliferation and arms control. That is very much a concern. And it's not only the nuclear issue, it's also the conventional weapons. There have been new technologies. There have been, from cyber war to new technology weapons that are very much of a concern that actually could supplant also the nuclear weapons and could be more destructive. But there's no cap right now on any of the missiles. The only treaty that we have left between the Russian Federation and the US is the New START Treaty. And one wonders if the INF Treaty is abrogated, would the renewal that could become in 2021, would that actually happen, or would Russia say, no, we're no longer interested?
And there is another complicating factor here, which is China, which is developing its nuclear technology, missile technology all the time. The Trump administration talking about China getting a significant military advantage in Asia because of this. I mean, is this treaty perhaps outdated? It does need to be looked at again.
Well, the treaty is over 30 years old, and I totally agree that it should have been looked not only at again, but it should have possibly also been leading to a new arms negotiation, because it only binds the US and the Russian Federation. It does not bind any other countries. So any other countries, whether it's China, whether it's Iran, whether it's Israel, Saudi Arabia, any of these countries can develop those missiles because they're not bound by any agreement that would limit these missiles. So that, I think, is very much a concern. And of course, originally, it was really because of the European theater that these weapons were barred. They range from 500 to 5,500 kilometers. But on the other hand, Russia has some in the Far East, but the United States basically cannot use them anywhere in the world, and neither can the Russian Federation, but they can reach other countries.
Angela Kane, really good to get your insight. Thank you very much for talking to Euronews.